We will not leave any stone unturned about making sure we mitigate the impact on society using all defence assets.
How it started, March 18th, just 2 days after the announced lockdown for England. The first MACA military aid to civil authorities request was made, local government asking for assistance of armed forces personnel. The COVID support force was formed, paving the way for Operation Rescript.
In all of my more than 40 years of service, this is the single greatest logistic challenge that I've come across.
20,000 personnel were put on standby, and in April 3,000 reservists joined the force. Within days, the military were learning to drive oxygen tankers and delivering personal protective equipment to hospitals. In a matter of months, they delivered more than 1.18 billion items of PPE to NHS staff, as the country prepared for its greatest threat since the Second World War. Military personnel also became crucial to the creation of the NHS Nightingale hospitals, bringing in specialist logistical expertise to get them up and running around the country, as coronavirus continued to claim lives and put pressure on the NHS.
And I think that the project, in close collaboration with the Army, who've been brilliant, it is the best of efforts.
From mid-April, Armed Forces personnel set up and manned mobile units to test people who thought they had symptoms. By the end of May, more than 310,000 people had been tested across the sites. Troops also helped drive ambulances, while the RAF transported suspected patients by air.
Whatever we're called on to do by the government of the day, we're happy to do it.
Was this what you expected when you signed up to the Army?
No.
As we entered summer, the rules relaxed and many were reunited with loved ones. But the threat remained, and after the summer months, it only continued to grow. 54 MACA requests remained open.
But this crisis is very far from being over, and we're now at a particularly sensitive moment in the course of the pandemic.
In early November, England moved into its second lockdown, following similar moves in Wales and Northern Ireland. Scotland also introduced tougher restrictions for the worst affected areas. As COVID rates increased, the military was called into Liverpool for a mass testing pilot. With the aim of delivering 450,000 tests a week, more than 2,000 personnel were deployed to Merseyside and stayed at Pontins Holiday Park for the duration. Following the successful pilot, the military began to train care workers and civilians to deliver tests.
Well, this will mean that we will be able to have visitors come in to see people who haven't possibly seen their relatives for months.
As the military's testing role started to draw down, it was announced that in Loughborough, personnel had been assisting with planning and logistics to create the first mass vaccination centres.
The vaccination centre that will be opening in our council offices here in the middle of Loughborough and Charnwood, we hope will be at the end of December, beginning of January.
From that came the Vaccine Quick Reaction Force.
This continues to be an NHS-led operation, and my team and I are here in support of the NHS, reinforcing their amazing efforts to get the vaccine out into the arms of the people that need it most.
As COVID cases worsened, the home nations imposed more and more restrictions, and plans for family Christmases were cancelled for much of the country.
It is with a very heavy heart, I must tell you, we cannot continue with Christmas as planned.
Community testing continued in South Derbyshire and saw 120 personnel deployed. While further south, the armed forces were called in to support testing for lorry drivers stranded in Kent after France closed their borders to all without negative tests. 2021 saw all of the UK in another lockdown.
The government is once again instructing you to stay at home.
With the first vaccines approved and rollout underway, the forces took on a new role, delivering vaccines to British overseas territories. The RAF flew more than 2,000 doses of Oxford's AstraZeneca vaccine to Ascension Island. It was enough doses to vaccinate the entire population. 1 year on, the threat from COVID still remains, and the armed forces are still responding. More than 2,600 military personnel assisting with more than 50 requests for help from local government. while 14,000 personnel remain on standby as part of the winter preparedness package. Kirsty Chambers, Forces News. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.